In biblical accounts, the story of Adam and Eve is one of the most well-known and studied. However, when exploring the narrative, it is common for the details about their daughters to be less explored. When we mention the descendants of Adam and Eve, the names that generally come to mind are Cain and Abel, a well-known story where Cain, driven by envy and anger, kills his brother Abel. These figures often do not receive the same attention and analysis as their brothers, Cain and Abel. Who were these women? What were their roles in the formation of humanity? In this video, we will unravel the mystery behind the daughters of Adam and Eve, exploring a lesser-known and often neglected side of the biblical story. Get ready to discover surprising secrets and embark on an intriguing journey through ancient times. If this topic has piqued your interest, don't hesitate to give a like and subscribe to the channel for more biblical content. To better understand the story of Adam and Eve's daughters, we will use various sources of information that offer complementary perspectives and additional details to the traditional biblical narrative. The Holy Bible is the primary source that mentions the sons and daughters of Adam and Eve. In Genesis 5 verses 4-5, we find the reference that Adam lived 800 years after the birth of Seth and had many other sons and daughters. Although the Bible does not provide many details or specific names of these daughters, it establishes the basis for exploring their stories in other traditions and ancient texts. The Book of Jubilees, also known as the Lesser Genesis, is one of the sources that provides additional details about the daughters of Adam and Eve. This ancient text offers a more detailed narrative about the creation of the world, the formation of Adam and Eve, and the lives of their descendants. The origin and authorship of the Book of Jubilees are intriguing. The text recounts stories from the creation of the world and attributes its authorship to Moses, claiming that he received the revelation directly from an angel on Mount Horeb. It is worth noting that, according to the Bible, Moses spent 40 days and 40 nights on Mount Horeb in the presence of God. This claim of authorship, however, is debated among scholars. The first daughter of Adam and Eve mentioned in ancient traditions is Awan. Awan is known for her marriage to Cain, who was her brother. This type of union, which seems unusual to us today, was a common and necessary practice in the early days of humanity, according to biblical traditions and other ancient texts. The marriage between Awan and Cain is a crucial point in the stories of the first humans, as she plays a significant role in continuing the lineage of Adam and Eve after Cain's exile due to the murder of his brother Abel. In the early days of humanity, the population was extremely small and formed only by the immediate family of Adam and Eve. To ensure the continuity of the human species, it was necessary for siblings to marry each other. This concept, although strange and unacceptable by modern standards, was vital for the survival and multiplication of humanity at that time. From the union between Awan and Cain was born a son named Enoch. This Enoch is an important figure, as Cain, after his banishment, built a city and named it after his son, Enoch. This act of naming the city is one of the first examples of urban settlement establishment in the biblical narrative, marking a significant step in the evolution of human societies. In addition to biblical texts and the Book of Jubilees, Awan is mentioned in other ancient writings under different names. In some texts, such as the Cave of Treasures, she is referred to as Kma. This variation of names in different sources reflects the various traditions and interpretations surrounding Awan's story, enriching the understanding of her role and influence. Awan, therefore, is not just a marginal figure in the stories of Adam and Eve, but a central character who contributes to the formation and development of the first human communities. Her story, its meanings, and her name variations across traditions offer a more complex and complete view of the early chapters of humanity as narrated in ancient scriptures. The second daughter of Adam and Eve mentioned in ancient traditions is Asherah. Her story is especially significant for her connection with Seth, the third son of Adam and Eve, and for the contribution of her lineage to biblical history. Asherah was the wife of Seth, who was born after Abel's death. The name Seth has a profound meaning in Hebrew, being associated with the idea of compensation or substitute. This name reflects Adam and Eve's view of Seth as a divine gift that came to fill the void left by the tragic loss of Abel, murdered by his brother Cain. Seth, therefore, is seen as a new hope and a continuation of the righteous and pious lineage of Adam and Eve. In the biblical genealogy, Seth is a direct ancestor of Noah, a central figure in the flood narrative and the continuity of humanity. Seth's lineage is highlighted in the Bible for its devotion to God and for maintaining divine worship in a period of increasing corruption and sin on earth. The Book of Jubilees provides additional details about Asherah's life and her connection with Seth. According to this text, Asherah was initially Abel's wife. After Abel's premature death, Asherah was left a widow. When Seth came of age, he married Asherah, honoring his brother's memory and strengthening family ties. This union also symbolizes the continuity of the pious lineage that Adam and Eve wished to establish. From the marriage between Asherah and Seth was born Enos. Enos is a significant figure in biblical tradition, known for his devotion to God. He is mentioned in Genesis 5 verses 6 to 11, where his genealogy is described. Seth lived 105 years and begot Enos. After he begot Enos, Seth lived 807 years and had other sons and daughters. So all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. The main characteristic attributed to Enos is his practice of prayer and calling on the name of God. Genesis 4 verse 26 states that at that time people began to call on the name of the Lord, indicating that Enos played a crucial role in promoting worship and devotion to God among Seth's descendants. Asherah's story, therefore, is not just a footnote in biblical narratives. She represents the continuity of Adam and Eve's pious lineage after Abel's loss. Asherah, by marrying Seth, contributed significantly to the genealogy that would lead to important figures like Noah, ensuring that the worship of God continued through the generations. The fertility of Adam and Eve is a fascinating and often discussed aspect of biblical narratives and ancient traditions. According to the biblical text in Genesis 5 verses 4 to 5, after Seth's birth, Adam lived 800 years, during which he had many other sons and daughters. Adam lived to be 930 years old, an extraordinarily long period compared to modern human life, suggesting that he and Eve had the capacity to produce an impressive number of descendants. The idea that Adam and Eve had many sons and daughters is supported by various ancient traditions that emphasize their exceptional fertility. Given the long lifespan of Adam and Eve, they were able to procreate for centuries, resulting in a vast offspring. This large-scale procreation was crucial for the survival and expansion of the human population in early times. To contextualize this remarkable fertility, we can compare it with an extraordinary modern example. Valentina Vassiliev, who lived in the 18th century in Russia, is the recorded woman with the most children in documented history. Valentina had 69 children over 27 pregnancies, which included 16 pairs of twins, 7 sets of triplets, and 4 sets of quadruplets. This incredible feat illustrates the limits of human fertility under more modern and documented conditions. When we consider Eve, the first woman, in contrast to Valentina Vassiliev, we perceive the magnitude of the difference in their reproductive potentials. Eve lived for about 900 years, which would give her a significantly longer fertility period than any modern human. If a woman like Valentina could have 69 children in a lifespan of 76 years, it is reasonable to speculate that Eve, with her longevity and the need to populate the earth, could have had hundreds of children over her lifetime. This large-scale procreation not only ensured the survival of the human species in ancient times, but also explains the rapid expansion of the human population in biblical accounts. Therefore, the fertility of Adam and Eve is a testimony not only to their extraordinary biological characteristics, but also to their importance in the narrative of the creation and expansion of humanity. Their numerous offspring ensured that the earth was populated by a growing diversity of descendants, all originating from this first couple. The comparison with modern records of human fertility serves to further highlight the uniqueness and grandeur of Adam and Eve's story as described in biblical and ancient traditions. The story of Adam and Eve not only tells us about the origin of humanity, but also offers a foundation for understanding the ethnic and genetic diversity that characterizes the global human population. According to biblical traditions, all human beings are descendants of Adam and Eve, and this common descent is a starting point for the vast ethnic diversity we see today. The sons and daughters of Adam and Eve played a fundamental role in forming the ethnic diversity of humanity. As these early families spread out and settled in different regions of the world, they began to adapt to local environmental conditions. These adaptations, over many generations, resulted in physical and cultural variations that contributed to ethnic diversity. Different groups developed distinct characteristics, such as variations in skin color, facial features, and other physical traits, all derived from the same ancestral origins. An interesting modern perspective on this idea of common ancestry is provided by the concept of the mitochondrial Eve. This term is used in genetics to refer to the most recent woman from whom all living humans today descend matrilineally. Through the study of mitochondrial DNA, which is passed from mother to child without recombination, geneticists have been able to trace lineage back to a single woman who lived in Africa about 150,000 to 200,000 years ago. This study does not suggest that she was the only woman alive at her time, but that her lineage is the only one that survived uninterrupted to the present day. The concept of mitochondrial Eve reinforces the idea of a common origin for all humanity, complementing the biblical narrative of Adam and Eve. This genetic study illustrates that despite the immense ethnic and cultural diversity we see around the world, we all share a common ancestry. This underlying genetic unity serves as a powerful reminder of the interconnectedness of all human beings, regardless of superficial differences. The ethnic and genetic diversity of humanity is, therefore, a rich and complex tapestry woven from a shared origin. The sons and daughters of Adam and Eve, as they spread around the world and adapted to new environments, created the wide range of cultures, languages, and physical appearances we see today. This diversity is one of humanity's greatest riches, reflecting both our common history and our capacity for adaptation and innovation. In summary, the narrative of Adam and Eve and modern genetic studies, like that of the mitochondrial Eve together, offer a profound view of the unity and diversity of the human species. While the sons and daughters of Adam and Eve directly contributed to ethnic diversity, modern genetics confirms that ultimately, all human beings share a common connection, underscoring the importance of unity and diversity in our understanding of humanity. I invite all viewers to leave their comments below, sharing their opinions, questions, or even stories related to Adam and Eve's daughters. If something has sparked your curiosity, or if you have any contributions to further enrich our understanding of this topic, don't hesitate to share. Your participation is essential to making this journey of exploration even more enriching. Finally, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all of you for your audience and continued support. It is an honor to share this journey of discovery and learning with such an engaged and interested community. I hope you found this video informative and inspiring, and I look forward to our next meeting. Until then, keep exploring the biblical scriptures and leave your light to reach other lives. See you soon.